unlike IQ that was used to be thought of as fixed when you're born, with working memory, you can expand your capacity, you can develop it. And we know that from research at Stirling University. Probably one of the best memories in the world, and it's this guy. Do you know his name? Anybody? The artist, Stephen Wilshire. And he was described as being autistic, and he didn't start speaking until he was 5, but he loved to draw, and he was encouraged to speak by getting him to ask for information. And the first word he uttered was paper, aged 5. I want some paper to draw with. So he can be flown over a major city, capital city like London, Paris, Tokyo, for 20 minutes in a helicopter, and then for the next 4 days he will reproduce everything that he saw in that 20 minutes over those 4 days. Now, I've been attending the World Memory Championship since 1991, and we were concerned that someone might have come along who has a photographic memory and just destroy the whole game. In other words, look at a sheet of 1,000 numbers, and they've got it in a split second. But to this day, nobody has been able to do that. I'm not sure Stephen would be able to do that. He's particularly good, obviously, at scenes. This is probably the most famous of all memory men, Kim Peek. Do you remember the film Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman? Dustin Hoffman studied Kim Peek, who had a very interesting, unique brain. Now, I think everybody in this room has 2 brains, a left hemisphere, right hemisphere. And they're joined together by, it's like the M25, the corpus callosum, for the exchange of information between the hemispheres. But Kim, for some reason, was born without one. That's a normal brain. This is his brain. It's like one congealed mass. And it meant that he could read a book, the left page with his left eye, and then the right page with his right eye. And he read 12,000 books in his lifetime, and he remembered everything he read. They call him the walking encyclopedia. Now, does that mean nature got it wrong? Maybe we should all remove our corpus callosums and just join the 2 together, have one congealed mass. Well, it came at a price. He couldn't look after himself, and he couldn't prioritize what was important. So his father used to take him around, and his IQ was sub 100. But he had an extraordinary brain. I'm just going to put you to the test. I'm only going to show you a few cards. So you've got to remember the sequence as well. 7 of hearts. 9 of clubs. Most people can get about 3 or 4. King of diamonds. And this was the speed that was shown to Creighton. Jack of spades. 5 of clubs. Is it gone? 3 of spades. Just do a few more. 6 of hearts. 7 of clubs. 2 more. Ace of clubs. Queen of hearts. I'll do 1 more. Jack of diamonds. Now you can all tell me what the last card was, because you've just seen it. This is called the recency effect. And what about the first card? 7 of hearts, you got it, yeah. Second one? 9 of clubs. Few, yeah, it's just a few now. And the next one? Yeah, there's some card players here, yeah. 5 of diamonds, 5 of clubs, wasn't it? Come on, Tom. 3 of spades. Oh, he's got it, he's got it.
I think it's in 6 of hearts.
Yes, very good.
7 of clubs.
He's got it, he's still got it.
And then,
Ace of clubs, was it?
and then
Queen of hearts.
and then
Jack of diamonds. Well done. So, Creighton did that in 2 minutes, 59 seconds, and I was flabbergasted. I didn't think that was humanly possible. And I thought either this guy is a genius or he's using some sort of technique, maybe some mathematics involved. So I sat down with a deck of cards and tried to do it myself. And like you, most of you, I struggled after about 4 or 5 cards. And then I used the one thing that I had when I was at school, was an imagination. I was quite good at creative writing, but not good at much else. And I started to look at the cards and imagine them as people. So the 7 of hearts would be James Bond, a bit of a heartthrob. The 9 of clubs was my favourite golfer, my hero Nick Faldo. 9 for Nick, golf clubs. King of Diamonds, Bill Gates, and so on and so forth. There was a connection. This could be Johnny Depp, couldn't it? Jack Black. So then I had something to work with, and I began to associate these people. I imagine them sitting around a swimming pool, talking to each other in little cliques. And eventually I was able to string together a deck of cards. And then I had the eureka moment when I thought, well, so I don't confuse these cliques, why don't I give each person a place? And that's when I developed the journey method. So the very simple system is the link system. So to remember that information, and you got the first 4 right, that's about all you can remember. And even after a few minutes, that will disappear, dissolve. So if you imagine your hand dipping into some soft, sticky butter, and then you find a little magnet inside, dripping with butter, and it pulls you mysteriously towards a book. It has to be a metal book, because your brain likes to be logical. You've made the connections. And you're thinking in pictures. So what are the 4 words? And you can show off like it. I did go backwards. Book, magnet, butter, hand. Now that you've made the connections, how long will that information stay in your memory? About 24 hours. About 24 hours, because you've made the connections. So if you're thinking in pictures, you're making logical connections.
Just out of curiosity, is there do you have a need or do you have sometime a problem to erase memory?
Do I have a problem to erase memory?
Yeah. You have too much information or you want to get rid of something?
Information overload, which we all suffer from. I think it's really about taking a relaxed attitude to those things. If you just don't think about it, they fade. But I'm not one of these people that's in favor of losing bad memories. I'm not talking about major psychological traumas, but I think every mistake we make, we learn from. So I don't think it's a good idea to try and erase the past, because we're erasing experience that we've gained from. But it shouldn't bother you. Just let it go. There was a guy called S, who was studied by a Russian psychologist, and he had an extraordinary memory. He couldn't forget anything. And they would test him on things like numbers, and he'd remember them 15 years later. So he was really bothered by soaking up so much information that he used to write down the information on a piece of paper, screw it up into a ball and throw it into the fire and watch it burn. But then he'd imagine the information on the dying embers, so he could never lose the information.
Is your method, or this method kind of in general, could be applied to music as well? For example, I'm a
Definitely.
concert pianist, so the notes are like images, or
Yes.
so, and also we have to retain
Yes.
a big volume of information.
Particularly with, the question is about, can you apply this to music, particularly with chords.
Because we recreate.
Yeah, so I have a
physically as
system,
well.
because I play the piano, and I have a little recording studio, it's one of my hobbies. So if I'm working with an artist, and I have a series of chords to remember, I have an image for G and E flat and C, and I use the journey method. And it can be used for dance as well, particularly dance movements. You imagine walking around your house doing a different movement. So you're not confusing the sequence of information, because it has its own place.
Do you think our use of mobile phones and technology, like our dependency on technology, has affected our memories as
Definitely.
a whole? Because I know, like, growing up, I would remember
Yeah.
all my friends' mobile phone numbers, and now, because I don't
Yes.
need to, I don't think I'd be able to.
Yes, the question I always say to people, I mean, we're at the point where we're going to have this portal to the internet, so you'll be able to know the answer to any question just by thinking of it, because you'll be connected. So if you want to know what the color eyes of Siberian huskies are, the word will be blue. Now, if you're the first person in the world to have this facility, to know everything instantly, do you think you will be the smartest, most powerful person on the planet? Anybody? No, because you're not actually processing anything. You're like a parrot. In fact, we already have that with Siri and Alexa now. We just ask it a question, and the answer comes out. In fact, you'll probably become the most boring person in the world. And you'd be dumbing yourself down. So Yes, I saw a wonderful picture recently of a group of people, a crowd, watching an event. It might have been the Queen coming along down the road or something, and everybody was looking at their mobile phones, and they weren't looking at the experience, except for one little old lady who was like that. She was mesmerized, and she was taking it all in. So she had the benefit of it, whereas everybody else, they might have just been at home watching it on television. So there is a huge danger with technology, social media, that we are damaging our working memories.